Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Samantha. Thank you so much for joining me. African threading is one of my favorite short-term protective styles, and it's also one of my favorite ways to stretch my hair without heat. It's a very popular style, and I think it's probably gained more traction recently because a lot of people want to avoid using heat on their hair but still want to stretch their hair. Although it's a fantastic style, one of the downfalls of African threading is that it can lead to hair dryness. So, a lot of people get put off because of this problem, and therefore, over the years, I've actually been experimenting with a lot of products and techniques in order to find the best way to keep my hair moisturized while it's in African threading because I don't want my hair to get dry, particularly if I'm not using it to stretch my hair. If I'm just using it as a protective style, then I want to make sure my hair stays moisturized. So this method will work with other types of protective styles such as box braids, mini twists, or even faux locks because it's a really good system. And therefore, if you're struggling to keep your hair moisturized when you have a protective style, then I really encourage you to watch the whole video so that you can see what I'm doing and maybe you could try for yourself. So as you can see, I had already started putting my hair into African threading, and I know it looks crazy with a yellow thread, but don't you worry, I will not be walking around like this. I will be wearing the African threading under a wig, so nobody will be any wiser. So I also wanted to remind you to make sure that you switch up your partings. Even just moving your partings by a few millimeters will make a difference because if you keep parting in the exact same spot, you could end up with breakage and hair loss. So, as I said, African threading can lead to hair dryness and which can eventually lead to breakage. So, you want to use products that can help to introduce moisture and also to lock in the moisture. And this is the product that I found to be really, really good for that. So, it's the Braids spray by Sulfur 8, and it's got water as the first ingredient, so it's going to add the moisture, but it also has silicones which can help to lock in the moisture, and it also has glycerin, which is a humectant, and it has hydrolyzed collagen, which is a protein which can help the hair to retain moisture. If you don't want to use this, you can use other things such as a leave-in spray or a growth spray. I've got lots of recipes on this channel, or just plain water mixed with glycerin or diluted aloe vera juice. You want some liquid, but you also want to make sure that it has a humectant in it for the hair to be able to retain moisture. And then to make sure that my hair stays soft and conditioned, I'm going to use the leave-in cream conditioner, and I'm using the one by African Pride in the Moisture Miracle range because it really, really works and I love it. So it's protein free, which is a really good idea because the Braid spray has a little bit of collagen, which is a protein, and you really don't want protein overload. So I recommend that you use a leave-in cream conditioner that does not have any protein. If you want some examples, I have a video linked in the description box below in which I talked about some of my favorite protein-free leave-in conditioners. And then we're going to seal the moisture in, and I'm going to use my moringa butter. Basically, I've just mixed some shea butter and my DIY moringa oil. If you want a recipe for the moringa oil, it's linked in the description box below. So a sealant is important because that's what's going to help to seal the or lock the moisture in your hair so that your hair does not get dry. If you don't use a sealant, then your hair is going to get dry. And if you're going to use an oil, then you need to make sure that it is an oil that is not a penetrating oil, because a penetrating oil will just be absorbed and soaked up into the hair, and it won't be able to seal in the moisture. So the first step is to make sure that the hair is moisturized from root to tip. So you'll see that I'm actually parting the hair and spraying onto my roots to make sure that the roots are moisturized. And then I'll spray some onto my ends and then onto the hair shaft. And then I really take time to work the moisture into my hair or the product into my hair. So you can see I'm squeezing the moisture in, and I find that's really, really effective, particularly because my hair is low porosity, and then the moisture isn't just sitting on top of the hair, it's actually being absorbed because you want the hair to really absorb the moisture. So I squeeze it in and then I massage gently to make sure that the moisture really gets into the hair shaft. And then I'm going to use a little bit of the leave-in cream. You don't need a lot because you really don't want product buildup after all this. So again, I'm making sure that I apply the product from root to tip. It doesn't really matter if it goes onto the scalp. If it irritates you, then you want to make sure that you just start from the roots. But this doesn't irritate my scalp at all, so I really don't mind it getting right down. Even if it touches my scalp, that's fine. And then, as you can see, I'm really massaging it, working it into the hair, and you really feel the change in the texture of the hair as it's moisturized, as it's getting conditioned. You'll see, or you'll feel that your hair is nice and soft, and the product has worked and you've done your part. And then I'm just using the butter to seal in the moisture, again making sure that it's well distributed. So I didn't whisk this, I just mixed the oil and shea butter in my little bowl there, so you can see there was a little bit of a solid shea butter, but it melted easily enough, and there you have it. If you've got thick hair, then it might be a good idea to use a comb just to make sure that the product is evenly distributed throughout your hair and that each and every strand is coated. But you don't have to, it's just a suggestion. And then the next step is one that I've been incorporating recently, and I found that this has probably been a game changer. So if you watch the video showing you how I do my African threading, you'll know that I leave some thread out, and I then hold this against the hair. So that bit of thread that you're going to be holding against the hair, you need to grease that with whatever sealant you're using. So I'm using that butter, and I just applied some of that butter to that thread that's going to be right up against the hair. The reason for this is because the thread can absorb some of the moisture. So if you don't grease it or oil it or whatever, use the sealant, then it's going to absorb some of the moisture from the hair. And I really think that's one of the reasons why African threading can lead to dryness, because the thread you're using can absorb the moisture, and that will leave your hair dry. So if you grease it, then it's not going to absorb the moisture, and therefore your hair will stay moisturized for longer. Honestly, it has been an incredible discovery, and I'm so glad I discovered this. It was just a simple thing to do, but it has made a huge difference. So I'm just going to go around and finish the rest of my hair, and then once I've finished that, I'll come back and explain the next steps. So now that I've finished my threading, I'm just going to apply a small amount of oil directly onto the scalp. And I just find this helps my scalp to stay moisturized and nice and supple. I have a naturally dry scalp, and if I don't add moisture to it and oil, then it gets really dry and flaky, and I really don't like it. So at this point, it doesn't really matter which oil you use. I'm just using a DIY hair growth oil, but you can use a plain oil, and you just choose the one that your hair likes. Good examples are things like almond oil, olive oil. Those are really good, or jojoba oil. Jojoba oil is really good for the scalp because it matches our, well, it's very close, it very closely matches our sebum, so it's a really good one. And then I'm just going to massage it very lightly so that I don't manipulate the sections too much. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just to tie up all those sections, because I find that really helps to prevent dryness. It's all to do with physics. The more the hair is exposed, the quicker it will get dry. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. Before I go, thank you so much to all my subscribers and everybody who comes and engages. I really, really appreciate your love and support. If you've not yet subscribed, then please subscribe, and also please give the video a thumbs up and also sign up for notifications. And I'd also appreciate it if you share the videos with your friends and families. So I'll see you next time, my lovelies. Until then, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and God bless. Bye for now.